Senator James Lankford would never do anything like that. He's on the Homeland Security Committee, Energy and Natural Resources, and joins us now. Senator, do you feel as though we're on the same page with Poland?
No, we're clearly not on the same page with Poland. When Poland says, hey, we don't want to transfer aircraft from us straight into Ukraine, their next-door neighbor, so we'll give it to the Americans, and the Americans can do the transfer. And literally, our State Department says we green-light the Poles to be able to ship these planes over, do it. We're all with you. And then as soon as they hand it to us, they're like, I have no idea what you're talking about. We don't want to transfer these aircraft. It's just a bizarre 48-hour switch of American foreign policy that while we and the Poles, the United States and the Poles, are trying to be able to work out who's going to turn over the aircraft, the Ukrainians are saying, give us the planes so we can defend ourselves. They're literally having their hospital shot while the vice president's arguing over who's going to get credit or who's going to show unity here. They just want the planes.
What bothers me is we were telling them, well, right now we're not going to give you the planes, but we don't think you need them. Here's a quote. The Ukrainian Air Force currently possesses numerous mission-capable aircraft that are flying daily. Aircraft to the Ukrainian inventory is unlikely to change the effectiveness of their Air Force. Well, okay, enough. So now you're telling them what they need?
Yeah, we're back to Zelensky just a couple of days ago speaking to all of us and saying, do a no-fly zone. If you want to do a no-fly zone, give us aircraft where we can defend ourselves. We're talking an enormous nation the size of Texas that they're saying, okay, you've got enough planes to be able to cover the air while the Russians are flying relentlessly over them. If they say they need more aircraft, they need more aircraft. They're in the middle of a hot shooting war. We shouldn't say, you've got 16, that's enough to cover your nation. We should give them what they need. We've given them the Stingers. We've given them the anti-tank. We've given them small arms munitions. We've given them all these things. We need to also give them the aircraft to defend themselves.
They said there were shooters in the hospital. That's how why they had to take it out. No one's buying that. Senator, how does this end? If we're not going to get involved directly, the Ukrainians will fight heroically, but we know that the Russians will just bury every city. There's no public pressure to stop them.
Yeah, this is the same thing the Russians have done. When they get bogged down in a war, they just use artillery and just destroy the city entirely and just leave it to rubble, and they'll push everyone out. This is the same thing, by the way, they did in Syria when they were working with Bashar Assad, that they would just move in and just pummel cities and move them to rubble and then just keep moving on from there. So this is the Russian model. The key thing that we've got to do is continue to be able to equip them, continue to get supplies to the Ukrainians, continue to give them reinforcements, give support to the refugees that are in Poland, that are in Romania, that are in Bulgaria, all these locations, to make sure that they're getting the support they need so the people that are fighting the Russians know their families are being taken care of, and so they can step up and be able to fight the Russians and not worry about their own families.
So I want you to hear this moment from the State of the Union address from the President.
When we use taxpayers' dollars to rebuild America, we're going to do it by buying America. We'll buy America to make sure everything from the deck of an aircraft carrier to the steel on highway guardrails is made in America from beginning to end. All of it. All of it.
So Donald Trump called. He's suing to get his speech back. But number two, Senator, do you feel as though he means what he says? Do his actions reflect this?
No, I've been pounding away on this. He really means buy American unless it's American oil and gas. And then he wants to buy from Venezuela. He wants to buy from Russia. He wants to buy from Iran. He's looking to try to keep his green score good here in America because they're so beholden to the environmental left. He's literally willing to go buy oil from other dictators around the world rather than just increase production here. Listen, we use a blend of types of oil. Some people don't know this. When we blend oil, some of it's our light sweet that we produce a lot of in Oklahoma and in Texas and all over the United States, but some of it's heavy crude that's produced more in Canada and Mexico and Russia and Saudi Arabia. So when that blend is out there, all of our refineries are looking for a blend of both. We can be North American energy independent, buy from Mexico, buy from Canada, but the vast majority be able to buy American light sweet crude and to be able to use that for our energy needs. We should not be dependent on Iran, and we certainly shouldn't say we're not going to buy it from Russia, so we're going to go buy it from Iran and Venezuela instead. That's ridiculous, and every American knows you don't just switch one dictator to the next dictator and say that's okay. We'll deal with the same consequences.
Well, here's Jennifer Granholm when asked about gas prices and drilling more. Cut 23.
Hi, Secretary Granholm. Sorry about that. Sorry. Is there any talk about bringing Iran back to the table because of gas prices?
They actually pushed the cameras away. Same thing with AOC. She walked away from a camera first time in her life. The Democrats don't know what to do with this. The left wing, like she's a green maniac, Granholm, as is AOC, obviously. So they have no idea how to handle this.
What's interesting is if you look at the Biden administration's own numbers of how much oil and gas will be used worldwide, all the way through 2050, they predict we're going to continue to have increasing demands for oil and gas. So while they're saying we're going to have more electric vehicles, we're going to take care of all this, when you look at their real numbers, when they actually get pushed to shove on the Energy Information Agency, they'll tell you, no, we're going to continue to have increased needs for oil and gas. They're literally trying to be able to speak out of both sides of their mouth here and to be able to get away with it. Right now, our foreign policy is being run by environmental activists rather than people who really understand what is actually happening in the economy, what actually happens when you empower Putin and others. They use the money we send them to murder their neighbors. We do not. So if we're going to continue to need oil and gas, which the Biden administration, even their own numbers, says we will continue to need it for the foreseeable future, which is true, then let's continue to be able to produce it here rather than try to say I'm going to get green credits from folks who absolutely don't understand foreign policy and don't understand energy needs of Americans.
Understood. Senator James Lankford, keep fighting.
Oh, we will most definitely keep fighting. Brian, continue to pray for the people of Ukraine.
Absolutely.